Hello and welcome to this edition of our Career Locker webinar training. This is Amy Rivera, your career sales and training representative. Today's webinar is going to be focusing on using the job seeking tools with the high school version. Let's get started. This page that you see is the professional homepage. This is what you see when you log into Career Locker as a professional. Your students should not be seeing this page. That is why there are two different registration codes for each organization. One for students, one for professionals. I'm going to click on the high school link up in the top right-hand corner. This will take me to the high school student homepage. This is where your high school students see or where they end up when they first log into Career Locker. Today's webinar is focusing on the job seeking tools. So I'm going to click job seeking. Here, this section helps me find jobs on the internet. So if you're in the state of Wisconsin, you can find Wisconsin job openings on the internet. These sites are linked to outside job banks that are not managed or maintained or developed by us here at Career Locker and the Center in Education and Work. These are actually websites that anybody could head to outside of Career Locker. One of the things that I like to mention is here we see much of the job market is hidden. Most people find their jobs through networking and directly contacting employers. This means that employers are not going to be advertising their open positions on general websites such as CareerLocker.com or Monster.com. You have to actually go as an employee search for an occupation, searching for a position. You have to go directly to that employer. So for example, I'm at UW-Madison. UW-Madison does not advertise their open positions anywhere other than the UW-Madison website. They have a specific page, or we have a specific page here where we advertise our open positions. And so what that means is that students and job seekers, they are not going to have the best time finding a job or open positions by looking at national websites or sites that are more general for finding occupations. They need to go specifically to employers to try to find open positions. If I go back to job seeking, I can click on job openings on us.jobs or job openings on NationJob. So again, these are two websites that are not developed and maintained by us here at Career Locker. Anybody can type us.jobs or NationJob and find open positions out there. This link is for Wisconsin students and professionals. So if you're in the state of Wisconsin, you will see this Wisconsin employers section. You can find employers related to occupations and industries. So for example, if I want to find employers that would hire accountants, I can click on A. Then I'm going to click accountants. Here, the WC connection is actually slowly going away. So I'm going to skip looking over this right now. It might already be gone by the time you watch this video. But here we have employers sorted by industry. So for example, if I want to find employers that are in the payroll services industry in the state of Wisconsin, so I'm going to click all regions. There are 42 employers that would hire accountants in the payroll industry in the state of Wisconsin. So here's a list of all of the employers. Remember what I just said, much of the job market is hidden. So you have to go directly to employers a lot of times to find if they have any open positions. So now that I have this list, if I'm in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, maybe I had no clue that Janke Premier Properties LLC was in the payroll industry and hired accountants. So now what I can do is I can Google Janke Premier Properties, or I can give them a call and ask them what open positions they have for accounting. This list is a list given to us by the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development. It's a list of all employers that pay unemployment benefits. So all of these employers on this list have more than one employee. I'm going to go back here. We can find employers related to industries as well. So this is a nice way to find a list of specific employers in the state of Wisconsin that tend to hire something that you're looking for. Over here on the left-hand side, we have the tools. We have the Resume Maker, the Resume, which is an online tool to help teach the students about learning the different types of resumes. We have a cover letter writer. We have the job interview. This is another tool to help teach the students about appropriate ways to behave, to prepare, to dress, and to follow up with job interviews. We have a link to the ILP portfolio. We have a finding a job. I will look at this in 1 second. And then we have samples. So if I take a look at the Resume Maker, students can build either a chronological resume or a functional resume, and they can see samples. If I click on this, I am going to start out with my personal information, and if you notice, all of my personal information is already filled in. That's because I have gone into my ILPE portfolio and I've added my personal information here on the left-hand side. So I've added my name, my address, and below I've added my schools, and I've attached any images or documents. I also have the ability under the job seeking profile, I have the ability to add any work experiences. So under job seeking profile, I can work experience. And here I've added a bunch of experiences that I want to include. So what happens is when I go to the job seeking tool and I click on Resume Maker, I can start where I left off. Here's all of my personal information. That makes it nice so that students don't have to type it in more than once. They just type it in once in their ePortfolio, and the Resume Maker will transfer that information over. So I can change anything here if I wanted to. And I'm going to click Add and Continue. Here I have the ability to punch in a career objective. Below we have some suggestions on how to write a career objective. I'm going to add and continue. Summary of qualifications. So here we have sample lists of summaries of qualifications. I'm going to copy and paste this one. Add and continue. The next category is work experience. So this is the work experience that I had added in my ePortfolio, and it's asking me, do I want to include this specific work experience on this resume? I'm going to click yes for all of these. And when I'm ready, I can click Done. Education experiences. Remember, I added my education experiences in my ePortfolio. So again, do I want to include on this specific resume? Yes. Done. I can now add a bunch of my extracurricular activities, and these are extracurricular activities that I've added into my ePortfolio, and I can just keep these ones and add more here. Then we have community and volunteer experience. Add and continue. And a spot for awards and honors. Lastly, we have references. I'm going to click Available Upon Request, and then I'm going to click Continue. Here we can view our resume in Microsoft Word by clicking on this Preview Print button, and it will open up in a rich text format, which is Microsoft Word. I'm going to click Preview, and it'll open up my resume in Word. Here I can use Microsoft Word's resume formatting tools to change the resume around, or I can make any changes on the resume. So for example, and then I can save this to my computer, or I can reattach it to my ePortfolio. So once I'm ready, I can email this resume out, or I can save it. So if I click the save button, I have to give it to a date. So I'm going to do October. Click save. Return to the resume editor. I also have the ability to change the headings of my resumes. So I can change to, instead of career objective, it could be anything we want, objective, and planning. And then I can actually add some specific headings that are not currently in my resume. I can submit the changes, or I can reorder the headings. So if I want my work experience to come after my educational experience, I can switch this to 5 and this to 4. And then I click submit. Now that I've saved my resume, I should say, it's saved in my e-portfolio. So if I click on ILP e-portfolio, I go down to the How Do I Get There section, and I click on this little arrow next to the job seeking profile. If I click Resume Maker, here are my 3 resumes. So here's the resume that I just completed right now. It tells me that it's not been saved. Do I want to save it before I start a new one? Yes. So I'm going to have to delete one of these old ones. Let's do tomorrow's date. And it tells me that it's been saved. That is how the Resume Maker works. The cover letter works very similar. We can write a super quick 10-minute cover letter or a 20-minute one, or we can create our own. And again, once we create a cover letter, it's saved in our e-portfolio. So let's say that I am inquiring about openings. I want the letter to focus on my work experience and skills. Here I can punch in my information. Contact person, the contact person's position and title, the company name, the street address, and then the person's name. We can fill all of this information in. We can punch in the number of years, our field of expertise, the dates, and then when I'm ready, I can click continue. Here's a copy of my resume, or I'm sorry, not my resume, my cover letter. And then again, I can save it, or I can print it or email it out. So I'm going to save it. October 2000, let's do October 21st. Oh, wait, what's the date today? 21st, 2014. I have to delete an old one. I can only save 3 at a time. And then it's been saved. So it's saved again in my e-portfolio under job seeking profile and the cover letter writer. So here it is. If I go back to job seeking, the 2 items, the resume and the job interview, let me give you an idea of how they work. What they are videos for students to watch. So if I take a look at this specific video.
A successful job interview involves much more than just showing up for an appointment with a potential employer. There are many things you can do before, during, and after the interview to make it more likely that you'll get the job you want.
So the students need to watch these videos, and then they click on this button. Too much, too small, or I should say. Watch the next videos. And they will keep going through and watching these videos. Dress for success, practice makes perfect. Then they're looking at the job interview and follow-up. So these videos, the resume and the job interview, the students watch the videos and they take some quizzes. The quizzes that they take, their results will be found again in their ILP e-portfolio. So if I go down here we have the resume quiz results. So the students would watch the resume videos. They would take the quiz and they can see their results here. The last items of the jobs tools are the finding a job. This is an actual workbook that students can pull up. So for example, it's for high school students and adult job seekers. If I click on this introduction, it's a PDF. So the students can pull up this PDF workbook, print off the pages, or you can print these pages off as a professional and hand them out to your students, where it teaches the students about how to find or how to work through the job search process. It looks like there are 7 chapters, so it's going to be a bunch of files, and they're all PDFs, easy to print. We also have sample resumes, sample cover letters, and sample job applications. All right, that pretty much concludes our focus for today's webinar looking at the job seeking tools for high school students. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at arivera3@wisc.edu. That's A-R-I-V as in Victor, E-R-A 3@WIS as in Sam, C.edu. Feel free to check out any of my other webinars. Thanks so much for attending. Over and out.